Captain Sarah Chen stood motionless on the bridge of the UES Phoenix, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the Vardarian fleet in high orbit around Europa. The alien vessels hung like Baroque sculptures against the stars, all sweeping curves and crystalline spires that seemed to mock the utilitarian design of human ships, or rather, what human ships used to look like. The Phoenix was something else entirely. Its hull, a patchwork of Earth metals and salvaged Vardarian alloys, reflected Jupiter's light in ways that made targeting systems stutter. Reverse-engineered gravity drives hummed beneath her feet, their vibration a constant reminder of how far humanity had come in the 18 months since the Vardarians arrived and declared Earth their new testing ground. "All systems are go, Captain," reported Commander David Rivera from the tactical station. "Engineering confirms the hybrid cores are stable and shield modifications are holding." His voice carried the same tension everyone felt. This would be humanity's first real counterpunch against their would-be exterminators. Sarah acknowledged with a slight nod, her mind drifting to the billions of souls depending on this mission's success. The Vardarians had seemed almost benevolent at first contact, offering to share their advanced medical knowledge. Nobody suspected their true intention was to use humanity as test subjects for their biological weapons research. By the time the truth emerged, their ships controlled every major orbit, and their research facilities dotted Earth's surface. But the Vardarians had made a crucial mistake. They'd underestimated human ingenuity. While their attention focused on biological experiments, they'd grown careless with their technology. Damaged components, discarded prototypes, and even intact systems had found their way into human hands. What the aliens saw as garbage became the seeds of resistance. "Signal from Resistance Command," announced Lieutenant Emma Puddle from Communications. "Ground teams are in position. They're ready to begin the simultaneous strikes on all 4 European research facilities." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Vardarians' arrogance had led them to believe humans couldn't possibly understand their technology, let alone improve upon it. They never bothered to scan for their own modified components being used against them. The Phoenix was proof of that blindness, a hybrid of human determination and alien technology, transformed into something entirely new. "Time to show them why you don't turn an entire species into lab rats," Sarah said, her voice carrying across the bridge. "All hands, battle stations. Lieutenant Patel, send the go code to ground teams. Commander Rivera, begin targeting solutions for their orbital defense platforms. Let's give our ground forces the window they need." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, each member knowing this moment had been months in preparation. The Phoenix's hybrid drives powered up, their distinctive resonance building to a crescendo. Sarah felt the familiar surge of acceleration as the ship moved out of its hiding place in Jupiter's radiation belt. "Multiple Vardarian vessels adjusting course," Rivera reported. "They're detecting us, but their targeting systems are having trouble getting a lock. The hull modifications are working exactly as designed." Sarah watched the tactical display as confusion spread through the Vardarian fleet. The Phoenix's unique energy signature and reflective properties made it appear as multiple phantom contacts, each one shifting and dissolving before their targeting computers could compensate. "They're launching fighters," Emma called out. 3 squadrons, standard intercept pattern." "Just as we expected," Sarah replied. "Deploy our surprise." The Phoenix's outer hull shimmered as hundreds of small objects detached and activated. Each one was a hybrid drone, combining Vardarian propulsion technology with human combat eye. The aliens had never considered that their discarded gravitational control units could be repurposed into autonomous weapon platforms. The bridge crew watched in satisfaction as the Vardarian fighters encountered something they'd never trained for: human combat algorithms controlling modified versions of their own technology. The resulting chaos was beautiful to behold. "Direct hit on primary orbital defense platform," Rivera announced with barely contained excitement. "Their shield harmonics couldn't adjust to our modified weapon frequencies. 3 more platforms showing critical damage." Sarah leaned forward in her command chair, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Send word to ground teams. Orbital defenses are compromised. Begin your assault." Across Europe, resistance fighters armed with hybrid weapons emerged from hiding. The Vardarian research facilities, designed to withstand conventional human attacks, found themselves vulnerable to weapons built from their own salvage technology. The aliens had never imagined humans could adapt their systems so quickly or so creatively. "Captain," Emma's voice cut through the tactical updates. "We're picking up a transmission from the Vardarian command ship. They're requesting communication." The bridge fell silent. This was unprecedented. The Vardarians had never deigned to communicate directly with humans before, issuing only pre-recorded proclamations and research directives. "Put it through," Sarah ordered, straightening in her chair. "Let's hear what they have to say when the lab rats bite back." The holographic display shifted, revealing the crystalline features of a Vardarian shipmaster. Its faceted eyes reflected a mixture of confusion and what Sarah hoped was fear. "Unknown vessel," the alien's translator rendered its harmonics into English. "Your energy signatures are impossible. You cannot possess such technology. Explain your existence." Sarah Chen, captain of humanity's first hybrid warship, allowed herself a genuine smile. "Shipmaster, I suggest you and your fleet stand down immediately. Your research project just became a revolution." Chief Engineer Maya Patel wiped the sweat from her forehead as she studied the holographic model floating above her workbench in the Phoenix's engineering bay. The captured Vardarian power core pulsed with an otherworldly light, its crystalline structure defying conventional physics. 6 months ago, this piece of alien technology had been declared failed and discarded by its creators. Now it was about to become humanity's greatest advantage. "You're sure about these modifications?" Dr. Marcus Wong asked from across the workbench, his skepticism evident in his voice. The theoretical physicist had been one of the first to join Maya's underground research team, but even he struggled to accept some of her more radical proposals. Maya's fingers danced through the hologram, highlighting the network of human-made circuits integrated into the alien crystal matrix. "The Vardarians built this core to be perfect," she explained. "That's their weakness. When one component fails, the whole system crashes. But we humans," she grinned, "we're messy. We adapt. We survive." The engineering bay around them was a testament to that philosophy. Salvaged Vardarian technology sat alongside human equipment. The two merged in ways that would have horrified the alien's sense of technological purity. Where the Vardarians sought perfection, humanity had embraced hybrid vigor. "Look here," Maya pointed to a particular junction in the hologram. "They designed their power distribution to flow like a river. Beautiful, efficient, but one dam breaks and everything stops. We're rebuilding it like a delta, with hundreds of smaller channels. Less efficient, maybe, but try stopping all of them at once." A soft chime interrupted their discussion. The engineering bay's doors slid open to admit Captain Chen, her presence immediately drawing the attention of every technician and scientist in the room. She'd been the first to believe in Maya's unconventional approach, giving her the resources and freedom to pursue what others had dismissed as technological heresy. "How are the modifications progressing?" Sarah asked, studying the holographic display with keen interest. "The Vardarian fleet is adjusting their patrol patterns. We'll need to move soon." Maya nodded, pulling up another set of schematics. "We've successfully integrated their shield technology with our distributed power system. The real breakthrough came when we stopped trying to replicate their crystalline control structures and started using our own neural networks instead." She highlighted a series of modifications that looked almost organic in nature. The Vardarians programmed their shields to respond to specific energy frequencies. It's incredibly efficient against known weapons, but it can't adapt to anything new. Our system might only be 70% as strong, but it learns and evolves during combat. "Like biological immunity," Dr. Wong added, finally warming to the concept. "The more they throw at us, the stronger our defenses become." Sarah's eyes lit up with understanding. That's why their targeting systems can't get a lock on us. The ship's energy signature keeps changing. Exactly, Maya confirmed. We're not trying to be better than their technology. We're making it work in ways they never imagined. Every piece of garbage they've thrown away has taught us something new about how their systems work, and more importantly, how they think. She pulled up footage from their first successful test flight. See how the hull plating resonates. We've incorporated quantum uncertainty principles into its structure. To their sensors, we're essentially a probability cloud. They can't target what they can't precisely locate. And the weapons? Sarah asked. Maya's smile turned predatory. That's where it gets really interesting. We've taken their energy weapon designs and deliberately introduced controlled imperfections. The beams fragment unpredictably. Their shields are calibrated for perfect, coherent energy strikes. They have no defense against what they'd consider a flawed attack. The captain nodded slowly, absorbing the implications. How many ships can we outfit with these modifications? We've got enough salvaged components to upgrade at least 30 vessels, Maya replied. And now that we understand the principles, we can manufacture our own hybrid systems. They're not as elegant as pure Vardarian technology, but they're infinitely more adaptable. Sarah studied the various projects scattered around the engineering bay, each one a testament to human ingenuity and determination. They thought they were studying us, she mused. All this time, we've been the ones learning about them. That's the difference between us, Maya agreed. They see technology as a path to perfection. We see it as a tool for survival. They discard anything that doesn't meet their ideal standards. We take what works and make it better. An alert sounded throughout the ship, calling all hands to battle stations. The Vardarian patrol fleet was moving into position, unwittingly presenting the perfect opportunity for the Phoenix's first real combat test. Time to show them what their cast-offs can do in the right hands, Sarah said, turning to leave. Keep those systems running. Chief, something tells me we're about to give their sensors a very confusing day. Maya watched her captain leave, then turned back to her work. Around her, the hybrid heart of humanity's first true warship pulsed with possibility. The Vardarians had called humans primitive, had treated Earth as nothing more than a laboratory. They were about to learn that evolution favored adaptability over perfection, and humanity had just evolved. The Vardarian battle fleet materialized from hyperspace in a cascade of crystalline light, their ships arranging themselves in the precise geometric formations that had become their trademark. 12 capital ships, each bristling with weapons that could reduce a city to ash, surrounded by swarms of fighter craft that moved with artificial perfection. Commander David Rivera watched them through the Phoenix's tactical display, his expression grim. They'd brought enough firepower to glass a continent, he reported. Looks like we got their attention. That was the idea, Captain Chen replied from her command chair. The Phoenix hung in high orbit above Mars, its hybrid systems running in stealth mode. Thanks to Maya's modifications, they were practically invisible to Vardarian sensors. Status of the mining facilities. All civilian personnel evacuated. Emma confirmed from communications. Automated systems are running on schedule. The Vardarians are picking up exactly what we want them to see. Sarah nodded, watching the alien fleet's approach. The abandoned mining facilities on Mars' surface were transmitting energy signatures that perfectly mimicked human attempts to replicate Vardarian technology. To the aliens, it would appear as if they'd discovered a secret weapons research base, one too threatening to ignore, but too primitive to be a real danger. They're launching scanning probes, David announced. Standard search pattern. They still haven't detected us. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Time to introduce ourselves. Lieutenant Patel, transmit the activation codes. Across Mars' surface, apparently abandoned mining equipment hummed to life. But these weren't the primitive human machines the Vardarians were expecting. Each facility had been retrofitted with salvaged alien tech, modified in ways their original creators had never intended. The Vardarian fleet's perfect formation shifted as their sensors detected the power surge. Sarah watched their reaction with satisfaction. They're taking the bait. Launch drones. Dispersed pattern. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity's capacity for adaptation. The Phoenix's hybrid drones detached from its hull, each one a fusion of human AI and repurposed Vardarian technology. They moved erratically, their flight paths deliberately unstable, another adaptation that Maya had introduced. The Vardarians' targeting systems, designed to track and predict perfect flight paths, struggled to lock onto targets that intentionally introduced chaos into their movements. Enemy fleet is launching fighters, David reported. They're breaking formation. Our drone movements are disrupting their standard combat algorithms. The space around Mars erupted in combat. Vardarian fighters, programmed for precision and efficiency, found themselves against opponents that defied prediction. The hybrid drones darted and weaved in patterns that seemed random but were actually guided by advanced combat AI, learning and adapting with each engagement. Now for the main event. Sarah commanded, "Bring main weapons online. Target their command ship." The Phoenix's hybrid weapon systems powered up, drawing energy through Maya's modified distribution network. Where Vardarian weapons fired perfect beams of coherent energy, the Phoenix's weapons deliberately fragmented their beams, creating patterns that overwhelmed the aliens' shield harmonics. Direct hit on their command ship, David called out, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. Their shields are fluctuating. They can't adapt to our attack pattern. The Vardarian fleet's response was immediate but predictable. Their ships moved to protect their flagship, adjusting their shield frequencies to match the attack they'd just encountered. But the Phoenix's weapons were already changing, each shot utilizing a different combination of frequencies and patterns. They're trying to establish a targeting lock, Emma reported, reading multiple scan attempts, all failing. The hull modifications are working perfectly. To their sensors, we're practically a ghost. Sarah leaned forward in her chair as the battle unfolded. The Vardarian fleet's perfect formation had dissolved into chaos as they attempted to counter an enemy that refused to follow their rules of combat. Their fighters, unable to adapt to the hybrid drones' unpredictable movements, were being systematically disabled. "Message from engineering," Emma announced. "Maya says the power core is performing beyond expectations. The more they throw at us, the more our systems learn and adapt." The command shift shields finally collapsed under the Phoenix's assault, its crystalline hull cracking as human-modified weapons found their mark. The rest of the Vardarian fleet fell into disarray, their rigid combat doctrine failing them in the face of humanity's controlled chaos. "They're retreating," David confirmed, watching the alien ships break orbit. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. "They're running." A cheer went up from the bridge crew, but Sarah raised her hand for silence. "Send word to all resistance cells," she ordered. Operation Chaos was a success. The Vardarians just learned that humanity isn't just capable of understanding their technology. We're capable of improving it. As the last Vardarian ship disappeared into hyperspace, Sarah stood from her command chair. "Send all combat data to Maya's team. I want every detail of this battle analyzed. The Vardarians will be back, and next time they'll try to adapt to what they saw today." "It won't help them," David said confidently. "They're still thinking in straight lines, trying to achieve perfection. We're thinking in 3 dimensions, embracing imperfection as strength." Sarah nodded, watching Mars' red surface through the view screen. Today's victory was just the beginning. The Vardarians had come to Earth expecting to find primitive test subjects. Instead, they'd found a species that thrived on adversity, that grew stronger when challenged. "Send word to Earth," she commanded. "Tell them the Phoenix proved its worth. It's time to begin mass production." The Vardarians wanted to study human adaptation. Let's give them a lesson they'll never forget. The underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains hummed with activity as holographic displays, showed the positions of both human and Vardarian forces throughout the solar system. 3 months had passed since the Phoenix's victory at Mars, and everything had changed. What started as a single ship's act of defiance had blossomed into a full-scale resistance movement. Admiral James Chen, Sarah's father and the newly appointed commander of Earth's defense forces, studied the tactical display with intense focus. Around him, officers coordinated the movements of 30 hybrid warships, each one built using Maya Patel's groundbreaking designs. "Status report on Operation Wildfire," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of 2 decades of military service. Colonel Yuki Tanaka stepped forward, her hands moving through the holographic interface. 7 Vardarian research facilities neutralized in the past week alone. Their security protocols are still optimized against conventional human attacks. They haven't adapted to our hybrid weapons fast enough. "And won't," Maya interjected, entering the command center with Captain Chen at her side. The engineer's usual lab coat was stained with grease, evidence of her hands-on approach to improvement. Their entire technological philosophy works against them. Every adaptation they make is an attempt to achieve a new form of perfection. They can't comprehend our deliberate use of controlled chaos. Sarah moved to stand beside her father, studying the tactical display. The Phoenix's combat data has been successfully integrated into all new ships. "Better than that," Maya replied with evident pride. "Each ship's systems learn and share data in real time. The more we fight, the stronger our collective defense becomes. The Vardarians are facing an enemy that evolves during combat." Admiral Chen nodded approvingly. "Their last 3 counterattacks failed completely. Their weapons can't penetrate our adaptive shields, and their perfect formations break apart when faced with unpredictable attack patterns." The holographic display updated, showing fresh intelligence from resistance cells across Earth. The Vardarians' grip on the planet was weakening. Their research facilities, once impregnable fortresses of alien technology, were being systematically dismantled by hybrid weapons they couldn't predict or counter. "Message from the Artemis," Colonel Tanaka announced. "Captain Rivera reports their raid on the Vardarian supply lines was successful. 3 of their cargo ships captured intact, along with their escort vessels. More technology for us to adapt and improve," Maya said, already anticipating the new possibilities. "Their arrogance is our greatest asset. They still can't believe we're capable of understanding their systems, let alone improving them." Sarah studied the captured ship positions. They're pulling their forces back, consolidating around their main bases. They're finally starting to realize we're not the primitive species they thought we were. "Which makes this the perfect time for Phase 2, Admiral Chen declared. He expanded the tactical display, highlighting a massive Vardarian installation in lunar orbit. This is their primary research coordination center. Every biological weapons test, every experiment they've conducted on Earth was directed from here. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. Taking out this facility wouldn't just be a tactical victory. It would be a statement to the entire galaxy about humanity's capability to defend itself. "We'll need every ship we have," Sarah said, analyzing the facility's defenses. "Their entire lunar defense fleet will respond the moment we make our move." Maya stepped forward, manipulating the holographic controls to highlight specific points around the lunar base. "Not if we use their own overconfidence against them one more time. They still think in terms of perfect defense, fixed positions, predictable patrol patterns. We can use that." She outlined her plan, showing how their hybrid ships could exploit gaps in the Vardarian sensor network. The aliens' belief in their technological superiority had led them to establish defense patterns that assumed no lesser species could threaten them. That assumption was about to cost them dearly. "Coordinate with all ship captains," Admiral Chen ordered. "I want every vessel ready to move within 24 hours. The Vardarians came to Earth expecting to find test subjects. It's time to show them they found equals instead." As the command center erupted into action, Sarah pulled Maya aside. "The modifications to the Phoenix's weapon systems, are they ready?" The engineer's eyes lit up with fierce determination. Better than ready. The Vardarians think they've seen everything we can do with their technology. They haven't seen anything yet. Colonel Tanaka's voice cut through the activity. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. Vardarian reinforcements arriving in the outer system. All eyes turned to the tactical display as dozens of alien ships emerged from hyperspace. The Vardarian response to humanity's uprising had finally arrived. A massive fleet sent to crush what they still saw as an upstart species that had risen above its station. Admiral Chen's expression remained steady. "They still think this is about technology," he said quietly. "They don't understand that our strength comes from something they can never replicate. Our ability to adapt, to take what they consider broken, and make it stronger." Sarah moved toward the exit, Maya following close behind. "The Phoenix needs to be ready," she declared. "When we hit that lunar base, I want the Vardarians to understand exactly what they unleashed when they decided to treat humanity as their laboratory specimens." The command center continued its preparations as humanity prepared for its largest coordinated strike yet. In orbit above, 30 hybrid warships powered up their systems, each one a testament to human ingenuity and determination. The Vardarians had come to Earth to study human adaptation. They were about to experience it firsthand. The moon hung like a silver coin in Earth's sky, its surface marred by the crystalline structures of Vardarian architecture. The Phoenix led the fleet of 30 hybrid warships through the debris field that had once been the aliens' outer defense grid, their modified hulls reflecting starlight in ways that made them seem to phase in and out of reality. "Vardarian command ship is broadcasting," Lieutenant Emma Patil announced from her station. "They're demanding our immediate surrender. They're still calling us test subjects." Captain Sarah Chen's lips curved in a grim smile. "Send them our response." At her command, every hybrid ship in the human fleet activated their modified weapon systems simultaneously. The space around the lunar base erupted with controlled chaos as hundreds of hybrid drones deployed, their unpredictable flight patterns creating a web of confusion in the Vardarian defense network. "Their targeting systems are failing," Commander Rivera reported with satisfaction. "They still can't adapt to randomized attack vectors. Their entire combat doctrine is based on predictability and perfection." The massive Vardarian research facility dominated the lunar surface below, its crystalline spires reaching toward space like accusing fingers. Within its walls lay the source of humanity's suffering, the central command center that had directed countless experiments on Earth's population. "Enemy fleet approaching," Emma called out. 50 capital ships, hundreds of support vessels. They're forming up in standard combat formations. Sarah watched the Vardarian ships arrange themselves with mathematical precision. Even now, facing an enemy that had consistently defied their expectations, they clung to their doctrine of perfection. "Maya," Sarah called over the comm. "Time to show them your latest modification." In engineering, Chief Engineer Maya Patel initiated the sequence they'd been preparing for months. The hybrid power cores of all 30 human ships synchronized, creating a quantum entanglement field that the Vardarians had never imagined possible. "Entanglement field stable," Maya reported. "Every ship in the fleet is now sharing shield and weapons data in real time. We're not just 30 ships, we're a single adaptive organism." The Vardarian fleet opened fire, their energy weapons lancing out in perfect synchronization. But humanity's hybrid shields weren't just adapting individually anymore. They were evolving as a collective. Each hit provided data that was instantly shared across the entire fleet, making every ship stronger. "Their weapons are having minimal effect," Rivera announced. "Shield efficiency increasing with each impact. The learning algorithms are working better than we expected." Sarah leaned forward in her command chair. "All ships, commence attack pattern Chaos Prime. Show them what humanity does with discarded technology." The human fleet broke formation, each ship moving in seemingly random patterns that nevertheless formed part of a larger strategy. Hybrid weapons fire split and fragmented in ways that bypassed Vardarian shields, while drones swarmed through their perfect formations, disrupting their carefully planned maneuvers. Direct hits on multiple enemy vessels, Rivera reported. Their shield harmonics can't adapt fast enough to our changing attack patterns. They're trying to predict our movements, but there's nothing to predict. The Vardarian command ship launched a desperate counterattack, its weapons configured to their highest power settings. But the humans had learned from every previous encounter, had adapted their technology to turn the alien strength into weakness. Their flagship is targeting the Phoenix, Emma announced. They'd recognized us from the Mars engagement. Perfect, Sarah replied. Maya, initiate Protocol Omega. The Phoenix's hybrid core pulsed with new energy as Maya activated their final modification. The ship's quantum field expanded, deliberately creating interference patterns in the Vardarian sensors. To their targeting systems, the Phoenix seemed to exist in multiple locations simultaneously. Their fleet is falling into disarray, Rivera reported with growing excitement. They can't maintain formation when they can't trust their own sensor data. Individual ships are starting to break ranks. Sarah opened a channel to all human vessels. This is Captain Chen. Concentrate fire on their command ship. Show them what happens when you underestimate humanity's capacity for growth. The combined firepower of 30 hybrid warships, each one firing weapons that defied Vardarian combat doctrine, converged on the alien flagship. Its perfect shields, designed to stop perfect attacks, shattered under the assault of controlled chaos. Their command ship is going dark, Emma reported. The rest of their fleet, they're retreating. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. The lunar surface below them lay exposed, the Vardarian research facility suddenly vulnerable without its orbital protection. Sarah stood from her command chair, facing her crew. Send word to Earth, she ordered. The path to the facility is clear. Launch the ground assault teams. It's time to reclaim what's ours. As hybrid assault shuttles streaked toward the lunar surface, Sarah watched the retreating Vardarian fleet. They had come to Earth seeking to study human adaptation, seeing humanity as nothing more than test subjects. Instead, they had become the catalyst for humanity's greatest leap forward. Message incoming from Earth Command, Emma announced. Admiral Chen sends his congratulations, and Maya. The production facilities report that 50 more hybrid ships will be ready within the month. Sarah nodded, knowing that this victory was just the beginning. The Vardarians would return, probably with even larger fleets, but they would find a humanity that had continued to grow, to adapt, to evolve. Their quest for perfection had been defeated by humanity's embrace of imperfection, their rigid doctrine shattered by controlled chaos. Stand by to secure lunar orbit, she commanded, and prepare to receive the surrender of any Vardarian research staff. I think it's time we conducted some studies of our own, starting with how their society became so fixated on perfection that they forgot the power of adaptation. The Phoenix hung in lunar orbit, its hybrid systems humming with power, a testament to humanity's greatest strength. The ability to take what exists and make it better, to find strength in adversity, to evolve beyond anyone's expectations. The stars above beckoned, promising new challenges, new adaptations, new evolution. Humanity was ready.